Now it's showtime. Here are the do's and don'ts of what to do on the day. Punctuality. There are very few, if any, excuses that will redeem a late arrival. Do whatever you need to do to get there 10 to 15 minutes in advance of your interview time. Whether it's planning your outfit and packing your bag the night before, setting 5 alarms, or asking a friend to give you a wake-up call, or leaving extra early to account for potential transportation obstacles. Thinking before you speak. A well-thought-out answer is always better than a rushed one. Of course, you don't want to sit there in silence for 5 minutes as you come up with an answer, but it is acceptable to take several seconds to think before you speak. Avoid the ums and ahs and buy yourself time by repeating the interviewer's question back to them, or using a phrase like, "That's an interesting question," or "I was actually just thinking about that when I read an article on a similar topic and..." If you're really stumped, you can say, "What a great question. I've actually never been asked this before. Let me take a second or more to think about this." Finally, if you really can't answer a question, you can say, "Can we come back to that question later?" The reason for doing this is your subconscious mind may be working on an answer that you can draw upon later in the interview. Or, if it requires you to check facts, ask them, "Will it be okay for me to come back to you with the information?" Speaking clearly, cohesively, and calmly. Nerves can make you talk a mile a minute, and so can the simple desire to convey as much valuable information about yourself as possible. However, talking too fast can make you look rushed, flustered, or anxious. Make a conscious effort to slow down and speak calmly and clearly. It will help you avoid interview stress. Being confident, not arrogant. Although you should be willing and able to promote yourself, your experience and accomplishments, make sure you don't come across as arrogant, narcissistic, or self-important. No matter how good you are at your job, you're going to run into countless obstacles if you lack the emotional intelligence to work on a team and get along with managers, co-workers, or clients. Focus on exuding a kind and balanced sense of confidence, and when you discuss your achievements, be sure to give credit where credit is due in order to show that you're a team player. Actually listening. Anyone can nod, smile, and say right or exactly over and over, but how many people actually listen? Interviews are especially tricky because you do need to be listening to your interviewer's question while mentally preparing your answer. However, if you don't listen well in the first place, you may miss the entire point of the question, and as a result, your answer will fall totally flat. Stay in the moment and don't let yourself zone out, even if it feels like your interviewer is endlessly blabbing on. Preparation will help tremendously, so you have materials ready to discuss and don't have to come up with it all on the spot. But good listening skills and the ability to stay focused are key. Expressing optimism with your words and your body language. No company wants to hire someone with a bad attitude. No matter how difficult your situation, don't bring any baggage into the interview room. That means don't badmouth your former employee or any other companies you've been associated with, or complain about your personal circumstances. Be natural, expressing reasonable perspectives through a lens of optimism. For example, if you have to talk about a challenging situation, you should include a mention on how you may have helped solve it, and what you learned that may make you a better employee. Remember, your body language does matter as much as your words. Walk in with a smile on your face, offer a firm handshake, and sit up tall at the table, leaning slightly forward to engage in the conversation. Showing interest without desperation. Sometimes it can be helpful to think of an interview as a professional first date. An air of disinterest, apathy, or monotony will likely turn off an interviewer, as will over-enthusiastic desperation. No matter how much you want or need the job, refrain from acting desperate. Pleading or begging has no place in a job interview. The key is to express earnest interest in the role and in the company, and passion for the work you do. Keep in the back of your mind that you are a valuable asset as an employee. Knowing more than your elevator pitch. Although you should be able to give an elevator pitch in which you introduce yourself, recap your experience, and promote your most valuable professional assets, make sure you're comfortable talking about yourself beyond that. Know how to discuss both your strengths and weaknesses, and emphasize your best qualities and greatest skills while putting a positive spin on your areas of improvement. You should also be able to exert some level of control over the conversation. For example, if an interviewer tries to trip you up with a tricky question like, "Have you ever had a bad experience with an employer?" or "Tell me about a time a co-worker was unhappy with you," You should be able to answer their question while bridging your response into a positive, an idea or example that shows you how you learned or grew from the situation. You should also have a question of your own to ask the interviewer. Expressing gratitude. Don't underestimate the importance of saying thank you. As soon as your interview concludes, you should thank your interviewers for their time and for the opportunity to learn about the position. When you get home, you should always follow up with a thank you email. Otherwise, the interviewer may take your silence as a sign that you aren't really interested in the position. Now that the interview is over, in the next topic, we'll discuss what you should do post-interview.